been withdrawn. So therefore, we will skip down to PG 306-25, which is Prince George's County Speed Monitoring Systems, Maryland Route 10.
This bill increases civil penalties for violations reported by speed monitoring systems on Maryland Route 10, the county that involve exceeding the maximum speed limit by certain amounts. Under the bill, civil penalties range from $60 on the lowest to $500 on the highest, and those penalties are determined based on the amount by which the speed limit is exceeded. The bill also repeals the title of the sunset of the authorization of using speed monitoring systems on Route 10. That authorization is currently set to expire September 30th, 2028. This is a similar bill to HB 574, which is PG 306-24 session.
And responsibility with delegate development. Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Council. This is not a new bill. I will defer my time to the 210 committee who are here, but for those of you that this might be new legislation for, this is just to increase the penalties. As many of you know, on Indian Head Highway 210, we have egregious drivers, we have repetitive drivers who drive at extreme speeds of like 180 to 90. And the only fine that they receive is a $40 penalty. So clearly these drivers are, don't care. I can use other terminology, but it's not appropriate here. So having said that, we're just trying to do what's right. It's not the all and resolve for 210, but it will help. And I would like to all the members here who have signed up to speak. Thank you. All right, and I do have a number of folks who signed up to speak, and so I'll just call names. You guys can come on down. First, I have Mr. Ron Weiss, and then he will be followed by Reverend Dr. Robert Screen, and then after Reverend Screen will be Ms. Lolita Walker, and then Tolores Holmes, and then Peter Gray.
Delegates, thank you for taking your time to hear me. I'm Ron Weiss from Fort Washington. I'm a member of the Maryland 210 Traffic Safety Committee, and I'm testifying in favor of PG 306. I thank Delegate Bellarona for sponsoring this bill once again. I consider myself incredibly fortunate. I've lived alongside 210 for 40 years, and at 80 years old, I'm still here in front of you to testify. Sadly, 95 others were not so lucky. Their lives ended tragically in this roadway. They lost the 210 gamble, and they paid with their lives. As a naturally introverted person, I've had to step outside my comfort zone far too many times, speaking on TV after yet another life is lost on 210. I do it because I care deeply about this issue, not just for me, but for everyone who travels this road. I have 6 children. Every time they visit, I pray for their safety on 210. My wife tells me I'm obsessed with this highway, and maybe she's right. But it's an obsession born out of love for my family, my friends, and my neighbors. I'm here today to ask you with all my heart to make saving lives on 210 your priority, so my children can visit me safely, so my friends and neighbors can travel this road without fear. So I can let go of my obsession knowing that 210 is no longer a death trap. So no more families must be a loved one lost to reckless speed. We can prevent more tragedies by making speeding on 210 costly enough to change driver behavior. Please hear my plea. Please act now to save lives. Please make PG 306-25 a priority. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Next, Reverend Screen.
Greetings to each of you in the delegation, and thank you for the time that I have to go before you. Our Titanic moment. 112 years ago, tragic tragedies occurred. The ship RMS Titanic sank in frigid waters as a result of an iceberg collision, killing 1,500 people, many of whom froze to death in the icy waters. The repugnant tragedy that really occurred was that the 20 large-sized lifeboats only one turned back to the freezing waters to help those who were calling for help. In the morning when they arrived, they found that almost empty boats with 328 frozen bodies floating with their life jackets in the waters. 3 years ago, Maryland 210 Traffic Safety Committee, with the vigorous help of Delegate Chris Walker, submitted an elevated citation legislation to create a much-needed enforcement package that will serve as a deterrent to reckless speeders on Route 210 labeled highway of death. In the 3-year span since then, 17 people have died of traffic fatalities on the 14-mile span roadway. With the new state-of-the-art cameras this year, the first 31 days of reporting in August, 16,872 citations were recorded through 5 of the 6 new cameras. In 3 months, over 30,000 citations were reported, close to the 40,000 for the entire year of 2023. Over 5,000 repeat offenders having 2 to 9 citations were also reported. And for the first time in recorded history, a repeat offender was caught speeding 190 miles per hour on a 55-mile-per-hour highway. The community residents of Indiana and Highway are drowning in an ocean of lawless drivers, and someone needs to set a lifeboat of common sense legislation to rescue the drowning. I believe this elevated citation legislation is that lifeboat for Rule 625. The Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, the ultimate measure of a man or woman is not where they stand during times of comfort or convenience, but where they stand during times of challenge and controversy. Our community needs you to stand and do the right thing. And place this legislation in the priority done in place. It's so long to finally get this legislation passed. Thank you.
Next, Ms. Walker, who is also a member of our school board and former chair.
Thank you so much. Good evening, delegation. I'm Lolita Walker, a proud resident of Kinney and a daily commuter on Indian Head Highway, a roadway tragically dubbed the Highway of Death. As someone who drives this corridor regularly, I am here to voice my strong support for PG 30625. This legislation, thanks to Delegate Valderrama, is a critical step toward addressing the urgent safety concern on 210. Too many lives have been lost and hundreds of accidents have been reported on this stretch of roadway. Just a few weeks ago, a tragic crash at Indian Head and Oak Fork Road claimed yet another life and injured multiple others. These stories are not isolated. They are part of a devastating pattern that demands immediate attention. This bill strengthens speed monitoring enforcement by increasing penalties for excessive speeding and repeat violations, sending a clear message that reckless driving will not be tolerated. This highway is not just a commuter route, it's a lifeline for our community. Protecting lives must take precedence over convenience. As Senator-elect Walker has also stated, this highway is a death trap. We cannot wait for any more tragedies before implementing stronger measures. This legislation enhances deterrence and promotes safer driving behaviors. I support and urge you to support PG 30625. Together we can turn the tide on 210, save lives, and create a safer future for our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Ms. Holmes.
Good evening, and thank you. I'm Tolores, Holmes. I've been a resident of Fort Washington for 30 plus years, and I've seen the increase in dangerous driving. My son, who lives in Charles County, was recently involved in an accident on 210. The driver that hit him just left the scene. I live in fear of death or serious injury each time I leave my home. Statistics have shown there's a significant number of drivers that believe that my family, including my 3-year-old grandson, is insignificant and expendable because they want to get nowhere fast and first. Fatal accidents happen so often that it seems like nobody really cares. All we get are thoughts, prayers, and sympathy. I'm here because I care about my neighbors, and I don't want any more lives to be lost from 210. This holiday season, I want all of you to realize that there's an empty place at the table for 95 families. Someone's mother, father, uncle, or child has been murdered in an accident on 210. My Bible tells me that we're supposed to pray and do. It's time for each one of you to do something and pass this bill and make it a priority. I leave you with this thought. When I travel home this evening, I must travel on 210. Thank you for your time, and I urge you to pass this bill.
Mr. Gray.
Thank you, Chair Williams. Washington Area License Association, which I represent, has hundreds of members and supporters in Prince George's County And it envisions a just and sustainable transportation system where walking, biking, and accessing transit are the best ways to get around. We support PGC 30625, which would increase the penalties for violations recorded on Maryland 210. Reckless and negligent driving takes a terrible toll on Prince George's County residents and visitors. 85 road fatalities in 2024 through this last December 6th, including 27 pedestrians and 1 bicyclist. 95 people have been killed on the 14.4 miles of Maryland 210 since 2007. The carnage has to stop. Traffic enforcement, if penalties are sufficient, can provide an effective deterrent. Speed kills. If you hear only 2 words I say tonight, speed kills. According to the Federal Highway Administration, studies clearly show that higher speeds result in greater impact at the time of crash, leading to more severe injuries and fatalities. But the current speed camera enforcement fines are too low to provide an effective deterrent. The Maryland Road Worker Protection Act of 2024 established graduated speed camera fines for work zone speeding. We're noting this as a precedent and we urge you to advance this bill. Please advance it and continue to invest in safe pedestrian, bicyclist, and transit infrastructure to make Prince George's County transportation safer and more equitable for all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, I'll see if there's any questions or comments from the members. Chris Bell. Thank you, Madam Chair. I would just like to let the audience know, I would be remiss, and I thank my colleague for reminding me, Delegate Harrison, that for those of you who are new to this issue, this legislation is a priority of the delegation. The chair is well aware that we're making it one of our #1 priorities, and that for those of you here who aren't unfamiliar with it, you also know that this bill has come out of the Prince George's County House delegation and Senate delegation every year. It is the House Standing Committee, Environment and Transportation Committee, that has yet to move it. So I encourage everyone here who wants to support to please come up to Annapolis and testify in person. Thank you, Madam Chair. All right, any other? Yes, Delegate Boucher.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do want to reiterate and piggyback on what my colleague Delegate Lolita has expressed. This is an extremely important and critical time period to pass this legislation. We must do everything in our power to deter those who are causing the loss of life that continues on this highway. And I implore and really encourage you to be very active and making sure that this legislation is passed. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Comments from any other colleagues? Hearing none, we'll move on to PG 30725, State Highway Administration Memorials, Maryland Route 210 in Prince George's County.
This bill requires the State Highway Administration to erect a memorial sign to remember individuals who have died in motor vehicle accidents on Route 210. The sign is to be located between the mile markers 11.359 and 11.672, ramps 1 and 2 Road. This is sponsored by
Delegate Bell, you have 3 minutes. Thank you, Madam Chair. I will take 2 seconds, 5 seconds. The council explained it, self-explanatory. If nothing else, we would like to acknowledge those lives that were lost in some fashion, way, or form. And I thank the 210 committee for suggesting this. It is our honor in District 2016 to submit. So for my time.
And I have 2 people signed up to testify, Reverend Dr. Robert Screen and Ms. Lolita Walker.
Thank you once again, as we hear our plea. This interchange dedicated in honor of the victims of Maryland 210 crashes. We are making our highways safer. The 4 spoken words reflect the exact wording of the signs the Maryland 210 Traffic Safety Committee thought was agreed upon by state highway officials regarding the memorial plaque honoring fatality crash victims on Indian Head Highway. Seemingly, the word victims is problematic, as reported by at least one dissenting board member, because it is not known whether a victim may be responsible for the fatality of themselves or others. The idea behind the memorial plaque is not to just be a marker to identify the fact of a fatal accident, but a plaque whose wording is designed to bring healing to the families of the loved ones lost by honoring their loss with compassion. By committing as a community to making our highways safer, by several safety enhanced efforts made by the Prince George's County Police Department, Maryland State Troopers, and advocacy groups such as Maryland 210 Traffic Safety Committee and others. It is a simple solution and sign, but our guiding principle is to create the wording on the plaque to reflect an honored, dignified remembrance of the deceased, regardless of fault or blame in the occurrence of the accident. Bringing humanity back into our bureaucratic processing and reflecting words of the community that cares.
Thank you, Ms. Walker.
Thank you so much. Good evening again. I am Lolita Walker, a resident of Akakeek, and as a speaker not too long before me, I too will be traveling Indian Head Highway tonight to get home. Indian Head Highway spans 21 miles, and as you heard, it speeds upward to 190 miles an hour in a 55-mile-per-hour zone. This memorial sign that PG 30725 proposes is more than a tribute. It's a call to action and a call to remembrance. It's a reminder of the human cost and the urgent need to prioritize safety improvements on Route 210. Beyond remembering and honoring the lives of those that are lost, this sign reinforces the collective commitment of our community to push for the changes necessary on 210. I support and urge you each to support PG 30725 as a meaningful step forward in remembering and action. Together, we can honor those who have lost their lives and reaffirm our dedication to making this highway safer for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next, are there any questions? Yes, Delegate Holmes.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like the opportunity to read a poem that I wrote when we did the memorial service for those in 210. It reads, the pain of a sudden life lost is extremely difficult to bear. The tears, the gloom, the questions why, and wondering even years. This is a pain I've come to know, and so my words are not a rhyme. This is a process one involuntarily navigates, and to prevent what for others, we must intentionally try. Loving memories of those we've lost must be fueled by a passion and unwavering commitment to the cost. The undeserved consequences must be accurately assessed. Those responsible must be appropriately addressed. This can't occur until we all work together to understand the need and devise a solution for change in memory of all those who lost lives on 210.
Are there any other questions or comments from colleagues? All right, seeing none, we will move on to